it's just easy and tempting to look around at the culture and almost like with Peter and the waves, just start to sink and fall under the weight of it. But the Lord's given these children to us, and it may not look like what your friend's homeschool looks like. It may not look like your neighbors down the street. It's going to look differently, but it's good, and the Lord is going to equip you for what you need.
Hey everyone, this is Yvette Hampton. Welcome back to the Schoolhouse Rocked podcast. I am back with my friend Sheri Renno, and we're talking about the holidays, and we're just bringing homeschool encouragement because that's what we do. And we have had so much fun chatting with you guys. I feel like there's an audience. I mean, there is an audience on the other side. It's hard when you're speaking to a camera, but I know that you're on the other side of this camera. And so it is really exciting to be able to encourage you guys in your homeschool journey. And I know that Sheri, she talks into a camera all the time. We were talking about this before we hit the record button because I said, I have a hard time doing videos where there's no audience that I can see on the other side. And she's really good at doing that. And so it is a blessing to know that you, our audience, is on the other side being encouraged by Sheri and by myself. And, we're just regular homeschool moms, just like you. We're no one amazing. We are in the thick of it like you, and we have the same joys, and we have the same burdens, and we have the same, all things, all the emotions that us homeschool mamas feel. We're there with you, and so we're glad to just be on this journey with you. So Sheri, thank you for being with me this week to talk about all these things. So we're going to talk more, but before we do, I want to say thank you again to our sponsor, BJU Press Homeschool. I am so grateful for them because they are also on our journey with us in homeschooling as well. They provide curriculum that I could not come up with by myself, and I'm so thankful for them. And they do it from a strong biblical worldview, and that's what we appreciate most about BJU Press Homeschool because we trust them. We know that they produce amazing biblically sound curriculum, and we are grateful that they are so committed to doing that. So if you are looking for curriculum for any grade, any subject, any age, whatever it is that you need, they've got something for you. Check them out at bjupresshomeschool.com. All right, Sheri, we talked Monday, we talked yesterday, we talked a lot about holidays, and I want to talk today a little bit about just motherhood, I guess, because your thing is homeschool encouragement for everyday moms. Mm-hmm. And speaking of that, we are just everyday moms. I mean, that's what we were talking about. And one of the things that I've noticed about every homeschool mom, just about including myself, is that we often feel very ill-equipped to do the things that God has called us to do. And so our attitudes matter, our confidence in homeschooling and raising our kids matters. All of that. Talk about what that has looked like for you. I mean, did you jump into homeschooling feeling like I've got this, I know exactly what I'm doing, and I'm going to be the most amazing homeschool mom ever, and have lived the last 13 years of your life in that regard? Or, how has the Lord worked in you and through you as a mom who's growing in your journey of homeschooling?
Yeah, well, I totally did not feel equipped. I was very nervous when we started out, and it felt so intimidating to me. And there've been so many times along the way where I have just really just cried out to the Lord, this is too big for me. Yeah. I need your help. And that's one thing that has been so wonderful about homeschooling is almost the hardness of it, the difficulty, because it's been very sanctifying and it's kept me, anything that makes you depend on the Lord is a good thing. And that's exactly what homeschooling and having kids home with you all day. It's not easy to be with kids all day and then add to that homeschooling on top of it. And the learning curve for me initially, the learning curve of just how do I do this? It doesn't look the same necessarily like it does in a school. And so having the kids home with me all day, learning how to homeschool was just both of those two things. That was a big hurdle. Yeah. And but it drew me to the Lord. And I think it can do that, or you can just get very frustrated and very discouraged. And so I think when it draws you to the Lord, then that's where there's victory, and that's where you can start to see the fruit.
I love that, because I've talked about that so often, and that because we're not equipped to do the thing that God's called us to do, He's the one who equips us to do it.
Yeah.
And so in the end of it all, He gets all of the glory for us being successful, right? If you will, in homeschooling our kids. And that doesn't mean, when I say successful, that does not mean that our kids are going to all get scholarships into college and get the most amazing careers and degrees, and they're going to be doctors and lawyers. Like, that's not the success that I am talking about, but the success of them knowing Jesus and following Jesus. And even if our kids struggle in their walk, some of our kids are going to struggle, and they have to figure out what their walk with the Lord looks like. But we've at least set that foundation for them by the grace of God, because He has equipped us to be able to do that. And then we get to trust Him. So even when things get screwed up, we can say, okay, Lord, we're trusting You. We're trusting You to get our kids through this difficult time, or praise God that You have equipped us to be able to get them through their childhood and into adulthood as one whole person. So, and I know you've got an adult son. And so you're in that phase right now of still being the parent of an adult, but you're not parenting him anymore.
Yeah,
and that
it's
whole
a different
transition,
season.
It's so different. Yes.
I just think back to, on our homeschooling journey, how many times the Lord came through and provided for us. When our oldest son when we were starting out, one of my biggest fears was that he wasn't going to have friends. And I just knew that if we were going to be homeschooling, he had to have some other friends who were also doing something similar to what he was doing. And this was just the beginning of many other roadblocks or difficulties that we ran into along the way. The Lord provided wonderful friendships for him. And over time, every time we would hit these roadblocks, I would realize it was like I could look back on the story of God's faithfulness and how He provided. It was the same thing with our co-op. It was just a small band of us moms. There were 5 of us moms that started together, and we kind of held hands and jumped in together. We didn't know how it was going to turn out. And the Lord blessed it, and it grew. It's the co-op we're still a part of today. And it's provided a community to the people in this area. And so just so many times we would hit something, and I would just think, I don't know how this is going to work out. This does not look very good. But the Lord is the great provider. Amen. And I can say He's done that for us.
Yes. Yeah. He is Jehovah Jireh. He is so good to provide all the things that we need to be equipped in order to do what He's called us to do. And He has called us to home educate our kids. He has called us to be the ones to disciple their hearts. He's not left that responsibility to someone else. What have you learned as you've got now a son who's graduated from high school? You have one graduate so far, right?
One graduate, yes.
Okay. And then another upcoming senior this year?
And then our son, he's 17. No, he's a junior.
He's a junior. Okay.
A junior, and then a sophomore. Our daughter is in 10th grade, and then stair-step down.
And then go down from there.
Yeah.
So looking at your 19-year-old son, if you could go back to your son, 15 years ago when he was 4, what would you do differently? What would you tell yourself? What would you say to Sheri all those years ago as you were trying to just navigate through these homeschool years?
I definitely would have relaxed a lot more. And I think I definitely would have reminded myself that the Lord gave these children to us. We are fully equipped to teach them everything they need to know.
Yeah.
And we have His Word. That's our handbook, the best handbook. And that the Lord is going to be there with us through every step of the way. And I think it's just easy and tempting to look around at the culture and almost like with Peter and the waves, just start to sink and fall under the weight of it. But the Lord's given these children to us, and it may not look like what your friend's homeschool looks like. It may not look like your neighbors down the street. It's going to look differently, but it's good, and the Lord is going to equip you for what you need.
Yeah. He is so faithful that way. And I'm so thankful that we don't have to figure it all out on our own. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. Have you tried CTC Math yet with your child? Here's a testimonial from another happy homeschool mom. Amber said, "I'm absolutely thrilled with CTC Math. It's a rare find that I've used with my children for more than 5 years now. I have 6 children using CTC Math, and each child has found it easy to navigate and very applicable. Thank you so much for all that you are doing in providing quality math lessons for my children." If you're looking for a great online math program, visit ctcmath.com. That's ctcmath.com. Join Apologia for the Homeschool Bootcamp, a free video series that provides practical guidance and wisdom from experienced homeschool parents. You'll discover how to equip your family for academic, social, and spiritual success. Plus, you'll discover how to build deeper and stronger family relationships. Homeschool Bootcamp covers how to break free from the public school mindset, daily planning, supporting students with learning challenges, homeschooling as a working parent, navigating the high school years, and much more. Find this incredible free homeschool resource at apologia.com/bootcamp. We are back with Sheri. As we close out, we have another, 10 or so minutes. I want to focus really quickly on the new year, because I know oftentimes we get to the new year, the holidays are busy, they're exciting, and now there's this new year, and we have all these New Year's resolutions. And we jump into it, but we're already exhausted because we had the holidays. And so hopefully we have not exhausted ourselves and overwhelmed ourselves. But even still, we go into homeschooling in January, and then we get to February. And there's something about the month of February. You're more than halfway, you're halfway into the school year. You're looking forward to the end of the school year. And it seems like moms, kids, it's the middle of winter. It's cold. Maybe you've been cooped up in the house for too long. And it just feels heavy, and you feel burnt out. There's something about that February, March timeframe.
February is a hard month.
It is. I don't know why that is, but for a lot of homeschool moms, it really is. And so we feel burnt out. Oftentimes we get to that point. And so talk for a few minutes. Just give us some ideas of maybe some things that we could do to avoid burnout in the month of February, but maybe into the new year.
Yeah. I think one thing is just be creative. Do something completely different. Get out paints and paint a picture, or let your little ones finger paint. Do something that's just completely out of the ordinary. Maybe for math, instead of math for today, just get out some board games and play strategy games together, card games. This is, I know for my little ones, they love the ones that can't even play card games. We'll get out Uno, and I'll just flip the colors over, and they just have to match the colors. Things like that. Something that's just completely out of your normal routine, I think will help just bring some life back into things. Another way is just to switch it up. If you've been doing something a certain way, maybe you spend most of your school day doing book work. Well, just do something else. Maybe go out and see some of the local attractions or field trips. Meeting up with other homeschool moms. I think this is a really important time of year to really dig into those friendships. We don't homeschool. You shouldn't homeschool alone. You really need a community of other friends that are doing the same thing. And your kids do too. Just going out and spending time with them, getting out of the house. I know one thing that has helped our family is doing serving in some way. Yeah. Because it gets your mind off of what you're doing and all that's going on in your home, and just kind of opens your eyes to the needs of people around you. And for us, the easiest thing is just to look at some of the service opportunities right in our church, because there are so many people that are shut in, or moms that have just had a baby that you can take a meal to. And that's a great learning opportunity for our kids as well.
Yep. So many good things. I know you talked before about having other homeschool moms, as mentors. And I think that's really important too. To have. I know Kelly Crawford, she's been on our podcast before, and I know that she was talk a little bit maybe about your relationship with her and how she's played a role in your life, because having those moms who have gone before us is so important.
It is
for us.
Yeah. When I was a young mom, I think I had 5 or 6 kids, and they were all little. Kelly was the mom that was ahead of me, and she started her blog in 2008. I read every blog post she wrote because I just wanted to glean whatever wisdom I could from another mom that was ahead of me.
Yeah.
And I think that's so important. It's important to know people maybe online or through books, to read about it through books, but then also in person, to know other moms. Find other moms that are ahead of you and make friends with them, because they're going to be the ones that challenge you and help you on those hard days. They're going to remind you of what's important. And when you get all stressed out about things that don't really matter, they're just going to say, just let go of it.
Right.
You don't have to do that.
Just chill out. You'll be fine.
Yeah. And so I think that's really important, to know people that are ahead of you and to lean into them. Use it as a resource.
Yeah, for sure. I'm so grateful for those moms in my life who have gone before me. And, I think of Rachel Carmen and Ginger Hubbard and Dorinda Wilson and, so many others who I'm just so grateful for them. And then I can go to, whether it's homeschooling or parenting. I mean, there have been many times where I've gone to them. I'm like, please help. I don't know what to do in this situation. And they'll always say, okay, calm down first, because we've been through this ourselves and it's all going to be fine, but here's what we did, or here's maybe some ideas of things you can do. And so they're amazing. I love having other godly women. I mean, that's the Titus 2 model, right? That's what the Bible instructs us to do, is to have those older women come alongside the younger women and help train them in godliness. And so we need to be doing that in our homeschools as well. And then like you are becoming that, of course, to other moms. And so it just continues on. It's that ripple effect. And I'm grateful for that.
I think another thing too is just to work on some life skills. This is something that we've done is just take some time and focus on cooking, on time management. Just sit down, even just conversations with your kids, time management, finances, how to do a budget. Take them with you to the bank and just bring them along. Let them see the process.
Yeah.
I think we don't give life skills enough credit. But there's so much that's one thing also that I learned as a new homeschool mom. I was totally academic. I wanted to make sure we were
check all the boxes.
Yeah. And then I realized there were so many life skills that I wanted my kids to know that I was totally overlooking.
Yes.
So maybe just even think about, what do I want to pass down to my kids?
Right.
What are skills that we could be working on? And that could just be the change of pace that you need to help you get through the hard month of February or through your downtime. And that can be your way of switching things up.
Yep. So much good stuff. Well, you've got a ton of information on your website. You've got lots of really great blogs that you've written, lots of great videos that you've done on YouTube. So tell our audience one more time where they can find your blog and your videos.
You can find me at ourlifehomeschooling.com. And I also do one video a week on homeschooling encouragement for everyday moms.
All right. Very exciting. We'll put those links in the show notes. Sheri, thank you so much for being with us this week. It's been so much fun chatting with you. Thank you for your encouragement. And you guys have a great holiday season. We've got more exciting episodes coming up. We're not just leaving you hanging, but I pray that the holiday season for you and your family is going to be amazing this year. And again, I've told you guys before, if there's any way we can be praying for you, please send us an email at podcast@schoolhouserocked.com, especially if the holidays are really hard for you. I know for a lot of families, the holidays are not enjoyable. They're very difficult for some people for one reason or another. And so if you're finding this year to be difficult, just shoot us an email. We don't even need details if you don't want to share them. Just say, hey, our family needs prayer. And we are committed to praying for you. It is truly our honor to be able to do that. So podcast@schoolhouserocked.com. Stay tuned at the very end to hear what's coming up next on the podcast. And we will see you guys back here on Monday with another fantastic guest. Bye.
You're listening to the Biblical Family Network.
Hey, I'm Miki.
And I'm Will.
And we're the co-hosts of the Culture Proof Podcast. We want to invite you to join us every week as we discuss what's happening in the world and then filter those happenings through a decidedly biblical lens.
There are many questions, especially when we see what's happening in our culture today, but the answers are found within the Word of God. So that's where we want to look.
Amen. When we resist those cultural trends that rival the truth,
we remain culture proof.
1920s, you started seeing critical theory come about. In the 1940s, you started seeing postmodernism and the ideas that we need to focus on our feelings and our perspectives, and it's all about me and what I believe and not necessarily what the author or the creator intended. So you start seeing these ideas probably 80 to 100 years ago, but they just really hit the culture in just a very accelerated way in the last several decades. And I think a lot of us would say, really in the last 4 years, it just seems to have exploded in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So you had that going on, I think, in culture in general. And you had all these people going into institutions like government or wherever, even our churches, right, that had these ideas. And so now here we are with a very biblically illiterate culture. And honestly, a lot of us want to stick our head in the sand and don't even want to address it in some cases too. So I think you have this kind of collision of a lot of things happening at once that made us a weak church and made these ideas very aggressive in society. And then as a weak church, we weren't really able to combat them with biblical truth.